Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon to my panels. Today I am going to present the final year project 2. My title for the FYP is Online Monitoring Attendance System using Fingerprint Scanner. I am Aiman Helmi bin Zahari and my supervisor is Associate Professor Zunairah binti Haji Murad. Content. First, overview. Problem statement, objective, scope of work, methodology, result and discussion, and last one, acknowledgement. The overview. There are 3 parts here: project, functionality, and the conclusion. For the project, the title is Online Monitoring Attendance System using Fingerprint Scanner. For the functionality, sensor detect biometric fingerprint as the input. ESP8266 send the data to the web page. I2C OLED and the web page display the data. For the conclusion, the project is successful. Problem statement. Lack and have major weakness on existing attendance system. Existing attendance system are not authenticated and not secure. The objective: to build the prototype attendance system using microcontroller, to develop the software application to monitor the attendance, and lastly, to analyze the effectiveness of attendance system using Wi-Fi network. Scope of work. There are 2 parts here, software and hardware. The software, first, Arduino IDE, and second, XAMPP. For the hardware, first, MCU, second, fingerprint sensor module, and last one, I2C OLED display. Methodology. There are 3 parts here in methodology. First one is flowcharts, second one is hardware, and the third one is software. The main flowchart. Start and initialize. Check connection of the Wi-Fi. If no, check the connection of the Wi-Fi or the IP addresses. If yes, display the Wi-Fi. Get the ID from the web page. Student enroll their finger on the scanner. Send the ID data to the web page and display the data on the I2C OLED display. In this flowchart, it can be added a new ID data. The same procedure is applied. Get ID from the web page, enroll the finger, send the data to the web page back, and display on the I2C OLED. In this flowchart also, it can be delete the ID data. Get the ID from the web page and delete the template. Flowchart of the web page. First one, start. There are 3 selections here. First, student list. Second, student slot. Third, manage student. For the student list, it will show a list of students. For the student log, there are 2 selections. First one is show daily log of the student, and the second one is export data to the Excel. For the manage student, there are 3 selections here. First one, add the student ID information. The second one, update the student ID, and the last one, delete the student ID. This is graphical user interface GUI. As we can see here, there are 3 selections here. First, students. Second, students log. And third, manage students. First one, student. It will show the student list registered in the web page. The second selection is students log. It will show the student logs daily and export to the Excel. The last one, manage student. It will show add student ID information, update the student, and remove the student. The flow of the fingerprint scanner. First, start, then initialize. The student need to scan their finger. The fingerprint will get ID information. If yes, if the ID is matched, time in or time out will be recorded. If no, null for their attendance. Block diagram and hardware. Note MCU ESP8266 as the microcontroller, fingerprint sensor as the input, I2C OLED as the display output. The ESP8266 will send the data via Wi-Fi connection to the database, and it will show to the web page or the PHP page. Result and discussion. As we can see on the serial monitor of the fingerprint, the ID is being added to the database. There are also the login of the student and the logout of the student. As also we can see here, the I2C display the Wi-Fi connection, and also it display the fingerprint. And now we go to the web page. The web page named Student Attendance System. There are three selections here: students, student slot, and manage student. For the students, it here show all the list of the student that already been added or registered. In the table, we can see the name, student number, gender, finger ID, date, and the time. Now we go to another selection, student slot. In this section, there are two buttons here. First one, select date, and second one, export to Excel. The user need to select date first. For instance, in this result, the date selected is 7 December 2020. It all show all the student name, student number, student print ID, date, time in, and time out. For the Excel, it also show the ID, the name, student name, fingerprint ID, date log, time in, and time out. The conclusion. The objectives to build the prototype attendance system using microcontroller to develop the software application to monitor the attendance, to analyze the effectiveness of the attendance system using Wi-Fi network have been achieved. The system able to register fingerprint and take the time in and the time out. Acknowledgement. I express my greatest gratitude to my supervisor, Associate Professor Zunairah binti Haji Murad. I extend my thanks to our panel. I am grateful to my family for their support and understanding. And lastly, I am grateful to my fellow friends for their continuous help and support.